Hello and welcome to AI4. Our next session will be led by Tokologo Phetla. He is the Managing Director at Christopher Africa. Please join me in welcoming him to the virtual stage.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. As Patricia has mentioned, my name is Tokologo Phetla. I'm a South African, and I'm the founder and managing director of a business called Christopher Africa. So before I go into what the software does, it's an artificial intelligence software that we've developed over the past 10 years. Went to market 3 years ago, and we're proud to say that today, it's a globally recognized AI working with hundreds of brands globally with 7 offices around the world. So what is Christopher and what inspired this software? So with the rise of social media, brands started noticing that consumer conversations take place on social, and this is the right place to connect with consumers in an organic manner. And obviously, traditionally, to reach those customers, people run sponsored posts. So on various platforms, you can sponsor a post to reach brands. The issue we found, though, and which these recent bans on social media platforms also revealed, is that brand safety becomes a huge concern. As a brand manager, running a sponsored ad, you have no sight of the flighting of your ad. You're not sure if the timing is relevant when it appears on the customer's timeline and so on. And these are the few challenges that the social media platforms were facing. We then started developing Christopher back when I was 16, and I'm still very young now. I'm only 26. And 7 years later, we took it to market with industry experts in our media industry in South Africa. And what really the software does is that it has 2 components to it. The first one is an advanced social listening element that detects conversations that take place in real time on social media. And the AI is conversational, so it's able to engage in those conversations as they take place. And I'll show you some examples after the slide. Now, people usually ask us what separates AI from bots. There's many chatbots on social media, obviously, and so it's a question we get asked regularly. Now, bots, obviously are based on algorithms and pre-populated information. A bot does not have the ability to self-create, self-learn. It's all based on algorithms and pre-populated information. Whereas our AI, as you'll see in the following slides, has learned over time to self-code and self-develop and self-learn, meaning it's able to be more conversational, adapt to customer conversations. And recently it speaks 7 out of 11 of our official languages in South Africa. So, we're kind of proud to see that happening with our AI based on the unique teaching modules that we've put in place. And this is kind of how it looks. So initially, this is the social listening element coming into play with the conversational AI kicking in. So Telkom is one of South Africa's biggest telcos. It's a state-owned company. And they were using Christopher to kind of promote their data deals and so on. And the AI would pick up on relevant conversations, as you can see here, of people saying they're staying at home, they don't know what to do. As you can see, what else can one do? The AI will then pick that up and, for example, reply and say, hi, at the username, don't let your data balance be the reason your weekend is full of FOMO, get all you need to get connected. So the AI is literally plugging in the client's products or brand message in a relevant and contextual manner that resonates with the consumer. And we've seen huge uptake. So this is kind of where the AI would start. The system will then start learning, using big data. We integrate it into many third-party microservices like Google Lens, Amazon, and so on. And through all that learning, what you then see is hyper-personalization, where the AI starts understanding Vernac, which is our official languages, and start responding in those languages as well. So I don't even speak, the language it's speaking here, which is Tswana. I speak Zulu, but the AI understood that, and it's a result of the teaching modules we have in place. So it's highly conversational, and now at a level where it can deal with queries and a very in-depth community management roles within major organizations in South Africa and some of the brands we work with across the world. And these are just some examples of how it's doing that. I'm just going to skip this. I mean, one that was very meaningful to us is when the South African government placed its trust in our AI to let us manage the coronavirus crisis communication. So during lockdown, many South Africans, were scared, number one, and confused about, what are these regulations? What does lockdown level 5 mean for our country? Because we declared a national state of emergency. And the volumes of conversation were too much for the government to handle, and they did not have the ability to find the relevant conversations. So as you can see here, I mean, this is an organic question by a user on Twitter. They're not tagging the government. They're not, using any particular hashtag. They're just asking genuinely what's an essential service. And using Christopher, the South African government picked up on that question, which was relevant, and was able to provide a suitable reply, to say, if you have any queries about what an essential service is, and if it applies to your sector, you can get in touch with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is just more examples of that happening here. And as a result of that, we're working very closely now with our health departments across all the different provinces. Gauteng is the capital, I'd say, province of South Africa. So this is the biggest health department. And you can see here users, expressing appreciation, saying they will do, thank you, due to the responsiveness of the government. So for brands, it's really about product placement in a relevant moment, but for government, they can use it for rapid response in a personalized manner, which is the key differentiator between AI and bots. And why we developed this software, and why we think it's finding so much success is because that is where marketing and advertising is heading. Brands are more scientific about ROI, and analyzing big data overlaid with AI, speaks to the fundamentals of putting in personalization into advertising. And that is why we think we've experienced so much success. The Christopher software works on these 3 platforms. So it works on Instagram, on Twitter, on TikTok. So we do have quite advanced video recognition capabilities. And so as I said, I started coding this when I was 16, and later we went global, and we currently white labeling the system, so it's available to brand managers across the world without it being a managed service, needing sales managers and so on. So we're scaling the business aggressively, and we hope more brand managers across the world will find value in our system. These are just some of the clients we're working with, some global brands. And yeah, we appreciate the time to show you what we're doing here in South Africa. Africa is, after all, not the dark continent. We do have technologies that are advanced. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that insightful presentation. We all learned a lot, and we're giving you a big virtual round of applause. All right. Yes. If you're looking for your next session, you can go ahead and check out the program page, or you can take some time to connect with your peers and have some conversations with virtual networking. Thanks so much, and we'll see you in the next session.